Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jason White. This is Jason's Weird Reads. Thank you for joining me, and thank you, if you're not new here, thank you for returning. If you like horror books, dark science fiction, dark fantasy, please consider hitting the subscribe button and just comment down below. I love discussing books with you guys, and we will discuss some books. Alright, so this is part 2 of my recent ebook or book haul, and this is the ebooks that I have purchased. Like I said in the last video, when the pandemic hit, it really wreaked havoc with my anxiety and depression. And when I get into that kind of state of mind, I tend to buy myself things too much of one thing. But this time I was a little bit more smart of it. I got a whole bunch of free stuff that I mentioned in the last video, and some of these were also free. But some of them I did pay full price for. So these, there's a lot of books here, so I'm not going to go into too much detail in regards to what the books are about, because I had to stop the other video because it would have taken like 40 minutes for me to get through everything, and I don't think anybody likes watching YouTube videos for 40 minutes, so I decided at the last minute to just split it up. Alright, so on to the ebooks. First book is, now actually I ordered these kind of interestingly. I split some of them up by author because there's one author here I bought like 4 or 5 books from. And but for the most part, these are like, the first book I'm going to mention is pretty much what I bought yesterday, and we're going to go back in time to where the pandemic started. I just thought that was interesting the way I organized that. It's not really important. Alright. So, first book, Diving into the Wreck. Diving novel, book number 1 by Kristen Catherine Rush. Now, I read a novella that's based in this. It's sort of like a prequel, and it really blew me away. It was weird science fiction, and is basically about this crew. Their job is to go find abandoned ships and loot them, basically. Now, this is, if I remember correctly. My memory isn't the greatest. Let's get that out there. But that's what I remember, and this ship starts doing weird things. It's like it's a haunted ship. And I absolutely love that story. So I've been wanting to read the series. And this is the first book, the first novel proper, and that's all I know about it, is the premise that I gave you there. And so I shall report back. Next book is Slash by Hunter Shea. I found this on BookBub, I believe, and it was very cheap. Same with Diving into the Wreck, actually. I think I found it that way too. BookBub, for a few days there, kept sending me books for really cheap that I wanted, and so I picked them up. And this is one of them, Slash by Hunter Shea. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, except it's about, I do know, I think anyway, that it's about a serial killer and a couple of friends who decide to investigate it, I think. I could be completely off with that, but that's what I remember reading about it. And I've read one short book by him, and it was a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to reading more. I got Creature recently too. I think I put that in another video. Alright, so the next book is The Rue by Ellen Baxter. Now, I got this as a recommendation in her review. Her channel, Taylor Talks Tales, and I recommend you go and check her channel out. She really sold this book on me. The premise is sort of like the book I was just talking about in the last video, Ferocious by Jeff Strand, except this involves kangaroos, and kangaroos start attacking people for some reason. It's like they're possessed by something. And so she said that it's very kind of schlocky, but it also has that B-movie feel to it, and at the same time it has like an intelligent message to it. So I'm in. So I went and I picked that one up. It was pretty cheap, so I just bought it. It was like $4, I think. So I also got Broken Stars, edited and translated by Ken Liu. This is a This is an anthology of Chinese, I believe, science fiction stories, and I've been wanting to check out Chinese science fiction for a long time. I have the three body problem somewhere, and I really want to get to it. You know, it's weird because I just changed my bookshelf with my wife, and now I don't know where anything is again. Alright, so, yeah. Broken Stars, edited and translated by Ken Liu. I also got, I Travel by Night by Robert R. McCammon. Now, I was watching a video by Lost Cunningham, that's Timmy, and he did like 19 Robert McCammon books ranked, and I do remember hearing about this, but it's so very vague, and then nobody ever talked about it ever again. This is like a vampire western that Robert McCammon wrote around 2011 or 12, maybe 13. And I just, those two things together, I have to read it. And so I bought it. So my thanks to Timmy for suggesting that. Next, I got like 5 books by Tim Curran. Tim Curran is a favorite of mine. I recently read a book by him, and it's the first one I have here. Headhunter. I think I'm gonna do a separate review on that, but it's his Vietnam War story. It's a horror story. The basic premise is there's something in Vietnamese folklore that's hunting the protagonist of the story. And it's really well done. I absolutely loved it. I think you have to be a bit of a Vietnam War buff to really get into it. I've read some of the reviews. People are like, oh, it's too much war, too much military. But for me, it was just perfect. I'm not really a military guy myself, but like I said, I am a bit of a Vietnam War buff. I don't know why that is, but I was like that when I was 11 years old. And whatever, right? You're into what you're into. So, I also got Grimm Weave by Tim Curran. And I believe that this is another Vietnam War story. I'm not sure, but I do know there's a jungle and a monster lurking inside. Just like with Headhunter, there's something hunting the people that are telling the story, or the protagonist. I haven't read it yet, though, so I don't know, and it's been a long, long time since I read the description. I just sort of blindly bought it after reading Headhunter, because I was like, oh, this is another one, maybe they'll be just as good. And I've heard good things about it, so... I also got Clown Flesh by Tim Curran, and I have no idea what this story is about. I think it was just released recently, and I just bought it because the cover is crazy. And I'm pretty sure it's about killer clowns of some sort. Could be wrong. But it's going to be a lot of fun because Tim Curran, he's very creative at creating monsters. And when he wants to, he can creep you out. He can seriously creep you out. And I love that about him. But this book seems more pulpy and probably more fun and crazy than creepy. I also got, because this one's been recommended to me by more than one person, I got Monstrosity. Like I just said, this was recommended by a few different viewers in my comment section because I talk about Tim Curran here and there. I haven't read all his books by far, and I don't like all of the stuff he's written. But for the most part, when he's a hit with me, he just blows me out. He just blows my mind at how good he can be. And so this is apparently one of his best. And I'm going to be reading it soon. And I hope it is, honestly, because the last one I read, Headhunter, that one was incredible in my opinion. So I can't wait to hit Monstrosity up and see what that... The premise of this one, I believe, is mutants in a post-apocalyptic world, and people trying to survive these mutants. That's all I know. I like to go into books as blind as possible. So, sounds good. I guess we'll find out. Alright, moving on. In the first video, I mentioned that I bought a couple other Brian Lumley books, and I'm going to go into them right here. There's 2 of them, and I think it's called, is by Brian Lumley, and This is a post-apocalyptic story, and I can't remember the exact premise as to what causes the apocalypse in this book, but I think it's creatures that fly by night. Maybe. I also got Dagon's Bell and Other Stories by Brian Lumley, because this is more of his Lovecraftian type stories. I just need to read that. He's actually well known. If you don't know who Brian Lumley is, he is well known for his Lovecraftian stuff, but I've never really read any of it. I'm more familiar with Necroscope, his vampires, so I'm really looking forward to digging into his Lovecraftian stuff. Alright, now on to some more BookBub sales that I fell onto. I found The Kept Woman by Karen Slaughter. I've been hearing a lot about Karen Slaughter and how gruesome she can be in her stories. And so this is a Trent story. I believe Trent's one of her series anyway. Trent is an investigator, and he works alongside a medical, I don't know if it's coroner or what, but I know that they sort of investigate murders together, and it's pretty nasty. So I'm looking forward to checking out Karen Slaughter. This is like book 8 in that series, I think, but I don't mind starting late. I can always just go back to the beginning if this book actually catches my eye. If there's anybody out there who's read Karen Slaughter before and they don't think this is a good book to start with, then let me know in the comments, and I will see what I can do in fixing that. Another BookBub deal that I found was The Mouth of the Dark by Tim Wagner. This one I bought blindly because I've heard some good things about it, so I have absolutely no information to give you, other than the fact that I've read a couple of Tim Wagner's books before, and they're always... his horror books are always... they're bonkers. It's like dark, weird horror. It's like weird fiction, but horror. It's very emphasized on horror. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in this. I also picked up The Overbridge by Deep Arya. I was watching Kasha and Bookland. I was watching her video. She did a 24-hour Evil-a-thon that she called, and I think they had to read like 5 short books in 24 hours. It's either 4 or 5, but this book, Over the Bridge, or The Overbridge, was one of them. And I have to admit, I fell in love with the art on the cover. It just reminds me of some of the paintings I've been looking at in my own journey in painting. And the paint itself looks like gouache, or at least if not gouache, then acrylics, or maybe even oil, but I'm thinking gouache or acrylics, and I just absolutely love that cover. And the story sounded pretty cool too, so I picked that up. I also got Consider Fleebus, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, by Ian M. Banks. This is a science fiction story I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I found it cheap too. I can't remember if it was BookBub or not, but it was on the Kindle store, so it might have been BookBub. Pretty sure it was. It's like $1.99. And I don't really know what this... I did read the first chapter just to see what it was about, and there's like a sentient spaceship. And, I like sentient spaceships, so it'll be pretty fun. But this is the beginning to a series of Ian M. Banks's that's highly regarded within the science fiction community, and I need to read it so I can see what it's all about. Alright. I also got the Magpie Coffin by Wiley R. Young. Brad Proctor, he has an awesome YouTube channel. I'll link his video channel down there as well. He did a book haul where he picked up this book, and this was again another book cover buy for me, almost, except that Brad Proctor's description of the book, along with the description on the Amazon website, sold me on the story as well. But I mean, look at that cover. It's absolutely beautiful, and I just couldn't help myself, so I bought it. And I've been wanting to read more like Western horror books lately. I don't know why. but the craving is there. And so I don't know if this is horror. It might just be like a spaghetti western, but that's okay with me. So that I'm in for that too. So I'm hoping it's good as well. I also got the Montauk Monster by Hunter Shea. Now this, you know, I'm not too sure if... No, this is like a creature in the lake, I think. Sort of like what I was describing in another video. But this one is... I think that was creature I was talking about. But this is... I want to say it's like a giant alligator. Man-eating alligator or crocodile, but I'm not too sure. But it seems like Hunter Shea does really good, like, pulpy, B-movie-like fiction. And so this would be really good to read if I'm ever a little low or down, because the fun factor and the adrenaline will just help pick me back up. I also got The End of Everything by Dale Bailey. This is one of those Tor.com shorts. It's I don't know if it's a short story or a novella, but again, I don't really know what it's about. All I know is that it is post-apocalyptic, or at least it's leading to a post-apocalypse. And it sounded very interesting when I picked it up. I don't remember how I came upon it. I was probably just scrolling through books, as I sometimes do, and I came upon this because I liked the cover, and I clicked on the link, and it took me to the Amazon Kindle site, and it's like 99 cents. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a short one, that's for sure. I really like those Tor.com shorts, because you always find something incredible. The writing is usually phenomenal in them. And finally, I got this one a very long time ago, a couple months, well, maybe not a couple months, but right when all this pandemic stuff started, and that's the Buzzard Zone by Ronald Kelly. This is a zombie story. I see a lot of hate towards zombies on BookTube, or at least dislike. Hate is probably a strong word, but dislike. But I've always liked the zombie, zombie stories. What I don't like about the zombie subgenre of horror is when people try to expand upon it and make it into something else. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do with fiction, but zombies are zombies. My favorite zombie are the George Romero zombies, where it's like a plague of flesh-eating... a plague that causes flesh-eating monsters to consume the world, basically. It's just... I fell in love with that subgenre when I watched those old Romero films way back in, like, the early 90s, and I still have that love for that stuff. I can't read it all the time because it will burn me out. I will burn out on that. But this one sounds like it's a lot of fun. It's The Buzzard Zone by Ronald Kelly. Alright, so I was right. It would have been about 40 minutes if I kept these two videos, together instead of splitting them up. But my thanks to you guys for watching, especially if you watched all of the videos. I really appreciate that. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys are being safe and staying healthy. I hope that you're also staying sane, because there's a lot of people who have to stay at home during this time, and I don't know how you could do that. Like, I'm pretty much a homebody. I don't like leaving the house, but to go do things, serious things. But I couldn't stay home for very long periods of time. I would go insane. Alright, so thank you for watching, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Keep being creative, and bye for now.